Don, thanks so much for coming on. What is this investigation about, do you think?
I think everyone's been trying to figure that out for 5 years. I think it's a political persecution, and I know that because she literally campaigned on it. She was going to investigate the crimes. The problem is, it wasn't as though she was a part of this office. She had no idea. But in New York, it's okay to try to persecute your political enemies, to try to target them, to try to hurt them. And they've been doing that for over 5 years. So 5 years, no actual crime. They're in search of a crime. They've been trying to investigate to create a crime because that's what you're doing in New York. Again, shouldn't surprise us anymore, but if this was going on in a banana republic, we'd be outraged. When it's going on in one of the largest states in America, everyone seems to be silent on it. And there's plenty of video out there for people to see. It was literally a campaign promise based on no information, based on no actual knowledge, just that you can do that in New York because it's a Democrat-controlled state. There's nowhere you can go. There's no one you can appeal to because what do you end up with another leftist judge making the decision, and they're just fine going after their political enemies as well.
So you don't like a politician, he leaves office, and then you hamstring him, threaten him with prison, force him to rack up millions in legal bills. Is there precedent for this? Have we done this to former presidents that you're aware of at any time in American history?
You know, I'm not. That doesn't surprise me. I think Donald Trump has sort of, the Trump derangement syndrome has brought out the worst in all of the other side. But it is unprecedented. And again, it's going on in America today. And I think what people have to understand, if you can go after a former president, target them for years, imagine what they could do to the regular person. We've seen sort of the corruption at the highest levels of the FBI over the last few years. You've seen them target, anyone who was anywhere even remotely near the East Coast on January 6th is being targeted. But people who have burned down buildings, who've taken over buildings, who have looted, committed arson, committed murder for the 12 months prior, total pass. They're not interested. This is what's going on. The entire system has been corrupted, and what's worse is that there is no way to appeal it. There is no way to stop the nonsense. In New York, crime is going through the roof. Taxes are going to go through the roof. Property values are going down. Murder rates are skyrocketing. And yet, rather than using taxpayer dollars to actually go and solve those issues, to prevent the degeneration of New York even further, they're going to continue to spend those taxpayer dollars targeting their enemies. And that's pretty disgusting. And I think the taxpayers should be aware of that. I've seen what's happened in New York City. I left for a reason. It's not a good scenario. And when I know a lot of the guys that are big taxpayers in this city, they're fleeing for places like I did to Florida for a much better standard of living, for a lot less taxes, for a lot less nonsense. The New York taxpayer has to be asking the question, why are you wasting my taxpayer dollars on this rather than, again, solving the uncontrolled homicide that's going on, the devaluation of real estate, et cetera, et cetera.
People want the rule of law, and when the chief law enforcement officer promises to prosecute a crime she can't describe, then you realize this is not a system based on law. It's a system based on political grudges.
100%.
Don Trump Jr.,
and that's
thanks so
part of the problem, Tucker. Even if they don't get anything, they get you to spend millions of dollars. And that's sort of a win in and of itself. And it's tens of millions of dollars.
And you've got no choice. I appreciate you coming on and explaining that. Thank you.
Thank you.